we'll start. So thanks everybody for sending, you guys see me okay? Thanks everybody for sending your pictures. I hope your different chalot came out delicious. We have been talking a little bit about some of the problem with the egg wash, that they seem to brown quicker on the outside but still raw on the inside, or that when you put it in the oven with the egg wash on it, it continues to rise, and then you get this split in it where it doesn't have the egg wash towards the middle of the braid. And for that problem, what I normally do, and I had forgotten to tell you, and I apologize, is I frequently will take it out midway and just do a second wash on it. Just very, very light, especially because there's typically sesame seeds, or I put things on it, poppy seeds. And in terms of if it's browning too quickly, your wash didn't have enough water in it. So you do need to add, 1 to 2 teaspoons of water to the egg yolk, depends on the size of the egg yolk. But the water will lighten the brown a little bit, but it does allow it to brown slower, and therefore it will cook the inside better. Okay. Were there any other questions from last week before we start with the braiding? Good. How did your doughs, you feel good with your dough this week?
Well, it's Patty.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm looking, like, by the way, like, I know I need to be looking here, and my husband keeps saying, but I see you guys on my computer in the corner, but I look this way. Okay, Patty.
Well, first of all, I made a double recipe, but I didn't split it. So I've got this proofing box. It looks like a blob. So anyway, is it still okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, it really should be. I think it really should be fine. I do it as 2 separate because I just don't have a large enough bowl for it to rise. I mean, you can see already with mine, they are, they're pretty full. This is my largest bowl, but I just don't have. But I think you can probably double it. Wow, those are looking beautiful, Robin. That looks great. Yes, looks wonderful. Okay. I'm going to ask that you kind of put those to the side for a moment, because I'm going to bring my camera down, and I'm going to come out of the picture, and I'm going to show you. We're going to do, I decided to do first with rope to show you the different braids. We're going to do a 4 braid. We're going to do a 5 braid, 5. And then 2 6s. And the reason I wanted to do it with rope first was because most of you just did 1 batch. And so you'll need to decide which one you want to do. Okay. So, but I thought I would show this first. And all right, here goes nothing here. Let's see. I did practice this, but can you guys see, first of all? So I'm doing my 4 first. Okay.
You need to sit back down, please.
Can you guys see? Yes? Thumbs up?
Yes,
okay.
yes.
All right. So with the 4, I divide it, you can see 4 strands of, pretend they're dough. You divide it into 2 and 2. And I call it, I start with the right side, the Hebrew side, because we go right to left. And so I start with the right side, and I go over that one. And then on my second group of strands, whoever can
come back here.
Can you guys mute?
No, you can come back during your break.
If you guys can mute, and then if you have a question, unmute. I think that might be better. Okay. All right. So again, I take the right over the left, and on my second one, I do right over the left. And then I have these 2 now, 2 in the middle, and I'm going to do left over the right. And what that gives me is two strands again. All right. Right over the left, right over the left, left over the right, right over the left, right over the left, left over right. And then I'm gonna, whoops. And then I'm gonna show you what that looks like. I don't know, can you see what that looks like? It's flat and it's, you know, that's pretty, it's braided, okay? That's a 4-strand braid. Any questions? Just unmute if you have a question. Okay, 5-strand. Okay, let's get this down. Can you guys see? So with, that's 6. You could think I could count better than that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the 5. Okay. So with the 5, we're gonna do again. Let me just tape this down. You're gonna break. We're gonna break it into 3 and 2 strands. So 3 strands and 2 strands. And I'm gonna start again on the right side, the Hebrew right to left, and I'm gonna braid this one. So it goes over and under. Over, and that was the first group of 3. Now I move this one over and I have a new group of 3. But this time I'm going to start on the other side, over, under. So I started on the left side. And now I'm back to the beginning, but I have switched the ones in the middle. So I take the right side over and under, and I move that over to the other side. And now I'm doing from the outside, the left side, over and under. Okay, so over, under, over, under, over, under, and over and under. Okay, and what does that one look like? It looks like, let's see. Let me see if I can. Okay, so can you see what that one looks like? It looks very different and much nicer in Braid, but I wanted to show that. All right, now we're on to 6.
Can you put the 4 and 5 side by side?
Sure, sure. Okay. All right, 6. Now, this first one is super easy and very pretty. I think it's called a fishtail. That's what this, I don't, can you guys, I put a little pink dot of where to put it, and I'm not sure if that's right. All right, so she called it a fishtail, but you're gonna take your strands. When you're working in 6, the most important strands are your outside strands, okay? And then you divide it, the other 2 and 2, and you have a middle, and that's the important part. So this one is, you take the outside and you're gonna cross them into the middle. Okay, and so now you have 2 new outside ones. So you're gonna cross them into the middle. And the 2 outside, you cross into the middle.
And that's with 6 strands?
And that's 6 strands, and it is the easiest 6 strand. Now, what this creates is just like the other ones, and the 3 braid, the 4 braid, and the 5 braid, it creates a 2-dimensional braid. Very pretty, but in the challah dough, what it will look like is that they will be flatter. And let me show you what this one looks like in the camera. Okay, So it is, in the dough, it's very pretty, but it's wide because now you're dealing with 6 strands and it's 2-dimensional. The other way, which is this one took me a long time to learn, and this was complicated, but it makes a 3-dimensional braid. So it's like a rope that twists and it's round all the way around. Like if you were to turn it around, it will be 3-dimensional. So this one, again, we start the same way. The 2 arms are the most important. And then that middle part is also important. And I'm going to do my very best to explain how how you do this, but it's complicated. All right, we start by just taking those 2 arms and twisting them and on the side. So we're twisting them over and basically crossing over, okay? And that's how we start it, so that they're crossed over. Now, we start by taking one of those arms, actually the one that is the top one, and we're going to take that one and we're going to put it into the middle. Remember I said the middle was important. So now what I have is I have a pair here, I have a pair here, I have one in the middle, but I'm missing an arm. So what I do is I take from this pair, because I take the outermost strand from that pair and I bring it over, and now I have, again, 2 arms and 2 pairs and a middle. Now I start with the other side, and I'm going to take this arm and I'm going to put that one in the middle. And now I'm missing an arm, so I need to take the outermost of that other pair, the opposite side pair, and I put that over to the arm. And again, I have 2 arms, 2 pairs. And I just keep doing that. I go back, now I'm on this side, and I bring that one to the middle. I'm missing an arm, so I take the outermost from the opposite pair and I bring it over. And now I'm going to go this side, I bring it to the middle, and I need an arm. So I always am checking my work by, do I have 2 arms and then 2 pairs and then that middle? And you're just always doing the opposite one. And I'm going to do this a little bit more so that I can show you what this looks like. And it really is quite beautiful. Because it does create like a 3-dimensional, roundish rope. Okay, but you can see it's kind of complicated. All right, so in the camera, it's completely round. Okay. Any questions? You guys ready to try? Okay. So I'm going to quickly wash my hands. Well, actually the 20-second wash here, so excuse me. I've been working with the rope.
Lynn, I have a question.
Sure.
On all of these braids, do you always pinch the top together?
Yes, yes. All of those you do. With the 3 braid, we started in the middle, but these are more complicated to start in the middle. There's no way that I could do that. Okay, so I'm going to start, I'm going to do the 4 braid, the 5 braid, and then both of the 6 braids. Actually, you know what? Maybe we'll start with this. I'll do the 6 braid. Should I do the 6 braid first? And how many people, do you guys know which one you want to do? You want to hold up number of fingers so I can see which one to do first? 6 braid, 6 braid, 6 braid. All right, so we'll do the 6 braids. So I'm gonna take my dough. I have my flour. I'm gonna, you gotta flour your surface, but just very, very light, because you really don't want to be adding a lot more flour now and to punch down your dough. Okay. All right, I'm going to cut my dough in half. I'm going to make 2 different colors, and I have my scale, because I want to have pretty even loaves. Oops, it didn't do the tear. $20 ounces, 24 ounces.
Please remind me how I know if it's punched down enough.
Really, it's not you should not have to knead it very much. It just needs to be doughy. You can kind of make a ball. Okay. All right. When you have your dough cut in half,
Thanks. Love you. Bye.
you're gonna need to divide it into 6 different pieces. And so I generally cut it in half. And then each half, I kind of roll it out a little bit, make it as even as possible, and I'm gonna eyeball and do thirds.
I'm sorry, you're using all the dough that we just had in the bowl?
You can if you want. Remember, how many challah do you want? I'm actually doing 2. So I cut my dough in half first, and then I cut, and then I'm cutting a half into 6 pieces. I'm trying to. If you, the reason that people say to use the scale is it is really the best way to make sure that your pieces are fairly, the same size. Okay, and that one's a little bit small. Okay, you guys have your 6 pieces? I'm having trouble. Okay, all right, so you want to make your snakes. Okay. I in my dough last night, I decided to trade. I used substituted apple cider for the water. So I'm looking forward to having an apple cider challah tonight. All right. How many of you guys, I see many of you are still rolling. So I'm going to wait until you guys are ready. Make sure it's sufficiently floured because you don't want it to stick to the surface, but you also don't want it to get dried out either from too much flour. All right, let's see. Wait a few more, another minute or two. Okay. Can I see a thumbs up if you guys have your 6 strands? I see 1 thumb. All right, we'll wait. We'll give 2 thumbs. I see Robin's. Robin, that looks great.
Mine seem to keep shrinking. What am I?
I know. Remember, the dough is good. So the longer when you're braiding, you kind of have to tug and pull to keep them lengthened, but all right. We ready to start? Anybody need me to wait? Hold up your hand if you need me to wait. Ah, okay. I gotta wait. Okay. I can wait. I see somebody has a little helper there. Who is that? Oh, it's Jan.
He's on break. He has 4 minutes.
Okay. Okay. All right. You wanna start by pinching the tops, but very gently, because we're gonna want. Okay. Let's stop and take a vote. Which one you want me to demonstrate? So we have 6. We have 2 kinds. We have the fishtail, which makes a really beautiful but wide, flat loaf. But it really is quite beautiful. Or the 3D loaf, which is probably the more typical. So yeah, hold up a two or three fingers. Three, there's a 2, 3, 2. I think most people, so I'm gonna do both. So actually, you know what? Let me do the 2. I'm gonna do the 3D here, but let me get the two started, because that one's really easy to do. You take your outside, and you're gonna cross them and put them into the middle, okay? And your outside gets crossed into the middle, all right? And then, but I'm going to, we're going to do the complicated one, okay? The 3D one. All right. I have my 2 arms and I have my 2 pairs, okay? In some ways, it's easier with rope. All right. So the first thing you do is you're going to take the right and cross it over, and take your left and cross it over, okay? Now, I'm going to take, I'm going to start with the right side. I'm going to move that to the middle. And now I'm going to take the left side of the left group of strands and cross that over, and now I have a new arm. And now I take the left arm, I put it into the middle, and I take the right side, the right or the outermost of my right pair, and I have a new arm. I take my right arm to the middle and the left outermost of the pair, and becomes my new arm. The left to the middle, left arm to the middle, and then the right becomes my new arm. The right to the middle, and my left outermost of the pair comes and becomes my new arm. My left to the middle, and then the right becomes the new arm. Right to the middle, left becomes the new arm. Left to the middle, right to the new arm. Right to the middle, left new arm. And now I'm coming towards the end. I'm gonna try to get one more in here, and then you kind of pinch and tuck under, okay? And you're gonna push together, and there is, can you see my loaf? All right, and I'm gonna place it onto my pan.
It's like a little baby.
Yes, yes, our challah baby. Isn't that pretty though?
It is.
Right? And you can see it has that fullness to it. So
Question.
yes.
My Challah baby didn't make it very long. So can I squish it together to make it higher and longer, or do I just let it go flat?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You can squish it together. I've seen a lot of folks do that. Okay.
Okay. Am I flouring the parchment paper? Or what am I?
No. The parchment paper is fine the way it is. I think last week I may have said I sprayed it, But that was a mistake. You do not need to do that. Remember I said I was like an expert challah eater and not I'm still learning. All right, I'm gonna, I think I'm gonna do the folks that are doing the fishtail, anybody wanna take your camera or computer and show how we're doing? Anybody want me? I wanna see. Anybody? Ah, there it is. Yes, beautiful, beautiful. Oh yeah, those are gorgeous.
Mine's
Okay.
a mess. I made a mess.
Oh, look at, oh, wow, David, that's beautiful. Oh, that's gorgeous. All right.
Lynn?
Yes,
Lynn? Yeah, are
Yes.
you going to do rolls at the end? Because
I am.
Okay, then I'm going to wait and just watch
Okay.
the rest until you get to the rolls. Thank
Okay.
you.
I'm gonna do the 5 one, I think. Anybody wanna, I'll quickly do this. Or,
Lynn, are we gonna do rolls at all or no? We're just doing
Yes.
the hull. Oh, okay.
yes. Do you want me to do the rolls now? Because how many of you, did any of you do 2 batches?
No.
No, all right. So then why don't we go ahead and do the rolls? All right. So for the rolls, take the other part of your dough, and you can divide it into half, divide each half into half, and divide each of those the quarters into half. So now we have eighths. Okay.
How many rolls are we going to be doing?
You can make 8. Depends on how large you want them. I see. I ended up. I didn't cut very well, so I actually ended up with 10 because I felt like they're pretty big at 8. So really, it's, think about each roll as an eighth of a medium challah. So, all right. So I kind of. Oh, somebody's calling me. That's not good. Can you guys still see me? No. Hold on. Declined. Okay. All right. Am I back? Yes. Okay. All right. I'm going to teach you my very favorite one first. This one I call the keter. Anybody know what a keter is? I know. Susan, where's Susan? She knows. It's a crown. So, the keter that sits on top of the Torah scrolls is a keter. So this is my very favorite one. You need a rather long snake, worm, snake, rope. Rope probably sounds better. Okay. So mine's, I don't know, probably about 9 inches. And then keep my surface just lightly floured. All right. Now you guys can watch this. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. I take a knife and I just start cutting about, I'm doing about a 1/2 inch. And if you notice, I'm going to bring the camera a little bit closer and see if that works. So let me see. Nope. There you go. Okay. So that's I cut just little slits in there. Okay. And then what I do is I just roll it up on its side. And check this out. It opens up and it's really, really pretty.
you do that again? I totally.
I will happily do that again because these are my very favorite. Okay, so you're gonna make.
Do you roll it with the openings to the outside?
I don't understand what you're.
So
what do
you put the slits in.
Oh.
Which way
Yeah.
do you roll?
Yeah, so I roll it on its side so that the slits are coming to the top. I'm going to show you again. So I'm making my rope, and the longer you make your rope, the more cuts you're going to have. Okay, so I cut, and I'm cutting about halfway into the rope, about ½ inch, but even. Okay. If you notice, the dough makes these little round, the cuts, because again, that dough is springing. All right. So when I roll, okay, if you can see, I'm just taking one end and I'm just rolling onto the side. Okay. And the longer that is, the more cuts I have. And there's isn't that cool? That was like my very favorite. Everything else is like not as exciting. All right, so give that one a try. And then I'm going to show you just some other really quick ones. These ones are easy.
Can you give us directions on how you adjust the baking when you're making the rolls too?
Yeah, I watch them, but the rolls generally go in for about 15 to 20 minutes. And the challahs are going to go from anywhere from 30 to 40 minutes. Okay, so. Okay. Which one should I do? Okay, so that one I call the keter because it looks like a crown. This one is just it's a spiral. So I have my long rope and I just gonna spiral it to the halfway point. And then on the other side now, I spiral it the opposite direction. And you kind of get like an S, and it looks like that. It's also very pretty and very simple. Okay, the next one, I make it super thin and very long because I'm going to cut it in half. Okay, and now I have two. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to twist them. Just twist them around each other. So you have it twisted, a nice twist, and then you spiral it. And this one you're going to tuck underneath it, and you end up with a nice spiral.
Can you explain that one again, please?
Sure,
I'm
happily. Sure. So you're going to make a very long, thin rope because you're going to be cutting it in half. So very long and thin. Okay, so there's my long thin rope. It's already stretching back, springing back. I'm gonna cut it in half. Okay, so now I have two. I'm gonna try to get them as long as possible and as thin as possible because I'm gonna be twisting them around each other. Okay, so now I pinch them together at one side and I just twist it one over the other. And just keep twisting. Okay, so I have it all twisted. And then stretch it out and twist it a little bit more. And then you just start spiraling. I'm going to take the thinner end and just kind of curl it and spin it into each other. And at the end, you're going to tuck it underneath. Uh-oh, this one did not come out as well. But yeah, that one I don't like as much. But it still came out. And then put it on the board. You can experiment with so many different, you can go on YouTube and find, I wouldn't say hundreds, but tens of different ways of, there's a lot where a lot with the knot tying. I've not had great experience knot tying with dough. I know, they make it look so easy, like it's real rope, but mine always sticks. All right, the last one I'm going to show you also requires 2 strands. So I'm going to make very, very thin. Okay, and I'm going to cut it in the middle. And I lay them crisscross. Okay. And then I'm going to twist like over. And I'm going to twist this side over. And then I'm going to twist the ends. And I'm left with that. And I tuck one end on one side and then the other coming like that. And it makes like it almost makes like, what are those called? Those loops. The figure 8. What is that called? The Mobius strip. It almost looks like that. Okay. And those are the ones. So.
Could you explain that one again?
Sure. So you make a very long rope because you're going to cut it in half. So I cut it in half. I lay them crisscross over each other. There's actually a few things. There's a few rolls that you can do with this kind, but I take 2 ends. I'm just going to flip it over like that, and then these go over, and then I'm going to twist each of the ends there that are left. Twist, and then I just kind of bring them in and tuck one underneath each other. Okay. Okay, so we have the keter Here, let me bring what we have here. So we have the keter, which are by far my favorite. And then the spirals are really nice too. And then we have, these are similar. This is the twist spiral, and these are the like the Mobius strip, where you crisscross that. Any questions? How you guys doing?
Okay.
Good. I see a thumbs up. Herndon, okay.
For the kisser, how deep should the cuts be?
About halfway through the rope.
Okay.
Are you
Lynn,
having
I'm
success?
sorry.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was behind the, so the last one, I'm just confused. I have the two pieces, but then what do I cross over now?
Do what?
So let
Show
me,
me with the rope.
yeah, I'll try. I'll show you with rope. Let me see if I can grab one of these pieces here.
Yeah, I told you to help me make ropes. I'm behind.
Okay, make some rope.
Hold on. Okay. So with the rope, you know what? I don't really want to do that. And let me wash my hands again. I'm going to do it with the, I'll do it with the dough. Hold on. Let me just finish up this keter and then I will. How are your keterim coming out? Are they
Great.
Are they working? Aren't they pretty?
Can I make one? Yeah. Want to make one? Okay, hold on. Let me mute myself. I didn't
Lynn, can you move your camera down a little bit?
Sure.
There you go. Thank you.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that last one. So you make a long rope. Whoops, my hands are still a little wet.
That. And this one goes right there.
Okay, so you have your long rope. You're going to cut it in half, and then you're going to see that it just kind of bounces back. But you cut it in half, and then you take one and you lay them crisscross. Okay, the one that's on the bottom, you're going to literally see it's already. It's already. You're going to crisscross that over, so it's crisscrossed, and then you're going to take the other side and crisscross that over as well. So now you have this like looks like a twist in the middle. You're going to just twist off these ends and then tuck them in. Okay, so it looks like that. Okay. This
You do it.
Great.
Her recipe is in mine. I wasn't as concerned about looks this time because it's going to be French.
Oh, those are cool.
Okay, I'm going to do my last one is a spiral. The 1,
Oh, I like, yeah, the spiral, I'll do that.
Yeah, the S spirals are really pretty, and they come out really, they bake really nicely too. All right. I actually finished one dough, but I made two things. So I'm going to actually make, I'm going to do a 5 braided, if anybody wants to follow along.
I'm just gonna do a 5 braided challah.
You can do 4 braid, 5 braid, well, 3 obviously. You can actually even do a 2 braid, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9.
This is where I get behind.
But I've never done more than 6.
Five braids, so I'm gonna do 5 parts, right?
Well, it's hard. That's good.
That's where I get slow.
When you make the keter roll, how tight do you, when you're curling it, when you're rolling it, how tight do you roll that?
I would say medium. You don't want it so tight. But if it's too loose, it'll fall apart.
So this one has to go here.
Five, 6, 6, 5. Okay. All right. All right. I'm gonna make my snakes for my 5 challah. That's
No, you're not ready. It's not time. I'm sorry. Wait, come here.
Before you put these in the oven, you're going to let them rise, so you can, however, my oven takes forever to preheat. So, but you want them to sit out for about 30 minutes, just like your challah. If it sits out a little bit longer, don't worry about it. And then, bake them at 350, put that egg wash on it. You can put, your, whatever topping, the sesame seed or poppy seed are the traditional ones. But, some of the rolls, if, the dough is a little sweet, you could add just a tint, you could put a little bit of sugar on it. I've also put a little bit of kosher salt, the coarse salt, on some of the rolls because it gives you that sweet and salty taste. But it's completely up to you.
Good enough.
And next week, we're going to do stuffed challah. And we're going to do an apple cinnamon stuffed challah. And then if I have it written that we'll do a savory and a sweet. The apple is really great. The savory, you really need a different dough. So you'd have to make 2 doughs. So I don't know how you guys feel about that. The dough that I make with I love I don't know if you guys know what za'atar is, but it's one of my very favorite spice blends. It's a Middle Eastern spice blend. So I've made za'atar challah, and instead of using regular oil, I used olive oil, and it just gives it such a wonderful flavor. You can do the same thing with rosemary. I know rosemary makes, put rosemary in your dough. I don't put the za'atar in the dough. I do it like a stuffed challah, and I'll show you that next time. But I very little sugar. This recipe calls for half a cup. I put maybe I do less than a quarter of a cup of sugar in the savory doughs.
So you said the recipe is different. Are you going to send the recipe for the savory one?
Yeah, I can send it. I literally the only difference is the fact that I cut the sugar in half at least.
Okay.
And I substitute olive oil instead of just regular oil.
Okay.
Because it gives a nice flavor. But other than that, the recipe itself doesn't change.
Okay.
Now, I've done other ones where I've changed it. Like 2 weeks ago, I made pumpkin challah. That recipe changed. I did don't laugh, but I did a chocolate challah where it used it was like a marble challah. I made 2 different doughs, but one was a chocolate dough, and I used like pudding in the dough, the pudding, but you can use cocoa. But this one I tried like a chocolate pudding in the mix in the dough, and that changed out the recipe quite a bit. All right, I'm gonna start my 5. You gonna watch anybody? So with the 5, I need to put a little flour on my surface. It's a little sticky. All right, so I do 2 and 3. So I braid the first one, the first 3, that's a normal one. And now I have a new 3, and I braid it from the other way. Okay. So I gotta braid one side. And then I braid the other side. And one side. And the other.
Just 2 on one side and 3 on one side. Oh, the middle one keeps going back and forth between the other 3. I'm gonna get this 3 on this side. All right.
Okay, so braid one side
This one.
and
Now the middle one. Go to the other side.
All the way? No. This one goes here first, right?
Yeah.
And now I've come to the end, pretty much. I'm going to tuck that under, and there's my,
Right. This one.
This one has to cross.
okay. So you can see that's my 5, and it's flat and wide, but it has that, it's pretty intricate. It looks.
Does it rise so it's a little thicker, or does it stay flat?
Oh, they always do. Yes, absolutely.
So it doesn't stay flat.
No. but it's not as high as that 3D. The 3D one is the highest. Okay.
Okay.
And the last one I'm gonna do I know some of you did this one already, but I'm gonna do the fishtail. I think that one always comes out so pretty. And it's the only one that doesn't look braided. And it's 11 o'clock now. So if anybody needs to go, I would, so, you know, so for next week, you're going to need, I would say a Granny Smith apple is the best kind of apple because we want an apple that doesn't produce a lot of liquid. So it's a good cooking apple. You're going to need cinnamon. The cinnamon will help reduce the liquid of the apple as well. So you'll need cinnamon and some sugar. And then if you have za'atar, if you want to do 2, I'll do 2 and I'll at least demonstrate and show you. But the thing that we're really going to be focusing on next week is how to stuff, which is fun and not hard. And they come out so yummy.
Where do you find your za'atar?
I've gotten it everywhere from Amazon to, there's a Middle East store. I live in Fairfax, right near George Mason, and there's a Middle Eastern store right near, like between Fairfax Circle, if you're familiar with Fairfax Circle, and up where 29, I think they call it Camp Washington.
Can you send out these ingredients?
Sure.
Anyway?
The ingredients are already there. I think I'll take another look and make sure everything is correct. But I know when I created the document, I put the ingredients on there to begin with. But you know, apple and cinnamon and sugar, butter, if you want. You don't need to. And if you're doing it par of, then you know, margarine. But I actually. I think Mandy does that. I've not found a need for that. So I did it with her the first time, and then I decided to cut that. I figured, you know, there's already so many calories, and it really just, I think it tastes fine without the extra butter or margarine.
Yeah. We have the ingredients for the challah. It's just for the savory part, because you were talking about
yes. So those are on. That's also on there. And so I said an apple. If you look at the Google Doc, it should be at the very bottom. And again, this week, if you can send pictures, I'll add them, and I'll add any instructions that I can to the Google Doc, just like last week. And also, this has been recorded.
Okay.
Great to see what I look like, but it's been recorded, so you can see, you can review
No
it there.
worries.
I'll try to write down the instructions. But then for next week, you'll see, you know, on the section for next week, that's where I have the ingredients that you'll need. And I think I wrote za'atar from, I'm pretty sure.
Lynn?
Yes.
Can I ask your advice? So I just ended up putting the challah, the 6-strand challah, with all the rolls. Do you suggest I move them to separate trays, or should I just pull it out and take the rolls out first?
Yep, that's what I've always done. So
you just pull it out a little early and take the rolls out first, and then put it back in? Okay.
Yes.
20 minutes for the rolls, is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, 15-20 minutes for the rolls. And don't forget to do the egg wash. And add water to your egg wash.
Okay.
So that it won't be as, it won't, you know, brown as quickly. It doesn't get as brown with a little water, but it's still much better because otherwise the insides just don't get cooked.
Exactly, that's what happened. Okay.
Yeah.
And then I just want to thank you double today, because not only is this so great to learn, my mom is in New York and I haven't seen her in forever, and she's joined us today. That's who you don't recognize. Ellen Dubinsky's my mom.
Oh, how wonderful. Ooh, that gives me chills. Okay, that made me great.
Thank you for bringing us together.
I had a question, Lynn. When I used to make challah years ago when Robin was a baby, and but I did the dough 2/3, 1/3, and I made two exact things, but I put one on top of the other. Are you familiar with that?
You did a double challah on top of each other.
Right. Well, the big one, 2/3 of the dough was the bottom.
Yeah.
1/3 was the top. So I braided them the same, but the little one on top, it just added a lot of height to the challah.
That sounds beautiful. Do you have any pictures of those?
I have to look. At that time, there were no digital stuff, so I have to look.
Don't date me, Mom. Don't date me.
Lynn, I have a question for you about.
All right, thank you, Lynn.
Thank you.
Sure.
Question for you about the other 5 strand. Where you braid the left side and then you braid the right side.
Yes.
Do you braid 1, 2, 3 and then switch, or do you just braid 1, 2 and then switch?
Yeah, 1, 2, and then so you do over and then under.
Okay.
So if you're talking about that very end strand, so it goes over and then under, and now it's in the middle, right? And so now that one strand becomes the 3rd strand of the other 2.
Yep, got it. I did it 1, 2, 3, and I had these giant holes in the middle, and I couldn't figure out why.
Yeah, no, that's,
thank you.
Yeah. So it's just really 1, 2, 1. Yeah, over, under, and then you go on the other side, and you start from the other direction, over, under. And so you're constantly switching back and forth. Okay, I'm going to do the fishtail, which I love the way these comes out.
Favorite one, I've got behind.
Okay. So with the fishtail, you just are doing again the 2 arms and then the middle, and these you just cross into the middle, and now you have 2 new ones.
He's recording this anyway.
Yes. And then cross over and into the middle.
If you want to see the video, do you just go on Beth Emeth and look for it, or where will it be?
David, are you there?
Oh,
David said he would send it out.
Okay.
So, I asked him, and
Can you hear
I
me?
think,
Always to the middle too.
yeah.
Can you hear me at all? This is
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so if David sends me the video, I'll put it on our YouTube channel, and it'll be really easy.
Yeah.
And then we'll send out.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks.
That's way easier than the 5.
Yeah. So you can see it's just very, it's not braided, but it just lays out very pretty. And if you want it to be a little bit higher, you can kind of squinch it together. And I need to get another pan. So I will do that. All right, let me pull this back up and we'll see. Anybody else have questions?
Lynn, can you pick up the one that you just did so we can see it better?
Sure. You see?
Got it. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Lynn?
Yes.
Last week, I tried to follow the directions, but the ends kept coming undone. And I pinched them and everything, and they just wouldn't stay together.
Take a little water on your fingers.
Okay.
Okay. And that should do the trick.
Okay, I'll try that. Thanks.
Okay.
Lynn?
And yes.
I wasn't participating because my dough was still proofing. I got a little bit of a late start, but I'm doing the 5 now, and hopefully it will come out okay. I'm trying, and I'm gonna
Okay,
make some
so
rolls too.
yeah, so remember, you're just gonna, you're gonna start from the right side,
Yeah.
over, under, and then you go to the left side,
Right.
over, under.
Okay.
Okay. And you're just constantly going, you know, because you have 3 and 2, and so it's 3, and then the 2 becomes a 3.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And I won't be participating next week. I'll have to watch the video. I have my 4-year-old twin granddaughters coming over, and I think it might be a little hairy for me to try to do anything.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
It should be a lot of fun.
Yep. All right. Well, I'll ask David to record it as well.
Thank
okay?
Lynn,
All right.
Lynn,
Yes.
my kids are chocoholics, and can you at least provide some of the other recipes, even if we're
Sure. Sure. Last night, my again, the daughter from a different mother, she is also a chocoholic, and she made a chocolate chip stuffed challah with Oreo sprinkles on the top. But yes, I'll give you the recipe for the chocolate challah, and you can also do a marble one with it, which is what I ended up doing, where I had 2 doughs, a chocolate dough and a regular dough, and then I braided those together, and you end up with a marble, and it was really pretty. So.
What about putting chocolate chips on top of the challah rolls? What will I be looking at? Will that work, or will they burn? Do I still put the egg wash on?
Yeah, you want to put your egg wash on first, and then any other topping. So yes, you can do that. But you can also, you know, use them the chips to stuff inside as well. So we'll do that next week. But yeah.
Thank you, Lynn.
All right. See you guys next week.
Thank
you.
Oh, send me pictures.
Thank
Okay?
you.
All right.
Thank
Shabbat
you.
shalom, everybody.
Thank you for having me on. Thank you. Thanks so very much.
Shalom, everybody.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.